Hey, it's Alze Calhoun with Coveted Consultant. It's an article I ran across online, and I think it highlights something that many of us struggle with. And this is idea of what does it mean to be an expert? What do I have to know, say, do, own in order to be an expert? And I think there are two big categories here for those of us who are in this consulting expertise landscape. One is this idea of even owning the word expert, to call yourself an expert. It feels kind of egotistical, and you don't want the pressure of having to know everything because nobody can know everything, right? So you got that issue. Then on the other hand, you have this conflict of, but everybody's an expert, right? It's so easy to be an expert. So how do you separate yourself from those folks who are claiming to be experts, but you don't want to know everything, and you know something, and what is that friction? So I think this article does a good job of highlighting it. I'm walking you through it here. I'm just going to point to the highlights here. I think they'll help us land on a perspective, a point of view that you should own. So let's go through it here. Has the word expert lost its meaning in 2019? And again, highlight social media and the instant expert. We all are aware of this. You can be an expert pretty quickly. All you got to do is show up on the internet and start talking, right? And it gives us some context on what expert used to mean. So the word expert has been used since the 1300s, and it means to try or experience. But so that was the original definition, was to try or experience. And then a transition has occurred where it's someone who has special skills or knowledge in a particular field. Okay. Now, we'll put a pin in that and we're going to come back to it. So the internet comes along, right? The internet comes along and changes how we see expertise. Now, anyone can give their opinion on an issue right here. Now, anyone can give their opinion on an issue and go viral for it, right? And anyone can start a website or review a movie, a restaurant, or what have you. So anybody can express themselves and therefore have an opinion and therefore be an expert, right? Let's keep going. So why does everyone think they're an expert now, right? More to the same point of view that anybody can start a blog and quote unquote be an expert. Now, I agree with this next statement here. It's elitist to say that all experts must have formal education or decades of experience. I believe that. You don't have to go to the best school in the land or do something for 40 years in order to have wisdom, expertise, a knowledge base, etc. I don't believe that. On the other hand, there's got to be a contrast between that and just opinions, okay? So are armchair experts a bad thing, though? So these people who may not have the longest resume, there are, this is one example of a case study here of people having conversations online and it creating a new narrative. Sometimes, I have an opinion, you have an opinion. If we keep dialoguing, we find, this other conclusion that neither one of us thought about. There's value in that. I agree with that as well. The underlying problem here, and I agree with this, the underlying problem here is misinformation. There are a lot of people talking, and all of that talking going around creates a whirlwind of data that's hard for people to see through to know what their next step is. So where does this leave you? I think the conclusion here helps us. So in many ways, our expanding ideas about expertise have led to meaningful thought and discussion on a scale that was previously unimagined before the internet or social media. In other words, all of us talking together has created some new ideas. But with large platforms comes great responsibility. And the knowledge that almost anyone can claim authority on a given subject should encourage us to think critically and often about what it really means to be an expert. Maybe we all have to step up to become experts in weeding through the infinite information now at our fingertips. Okay, that's the place where I want to leave you. Maybe we all have to step up to become experts in weeding through the infinite information now at our fingertips. How this relates to you, your client is lost in all of this misinformation. In every marketplace, there are people with opinions. And there's all these places where they can go and they can yell their opinions as loud as they possibly can. Your client is caught amongst all these varying opinions, not insight, not wisdom, not clarity, but just opinions. And it's so hard for your client to see through all of that data because they don't know enough about it. So they know all these ideas, they've seen all these ideas, they've heard all these opinions, but they do not know how to cut through that. I want to remind you of where the original interpretation of the word expert here meant to try or experience. So the way I think about expertise and the way that I think you should think about it is you've been trying something for a very long time. You've been experiencing something for a very long time, and you've tried it enough to understand its essence. You've experienced it enough to understand its soul, if you will. So you know what the fundamentals are in order to move from A to B. So that becomes, I still believe that the original definition of expert still applies here. For those of us who didn't just do it once or twice, but really tried it, really experienced it, you got a much different perspective on the topic. Again, how does that relate to you and who you sell services to? Your client does not have the bandwidth to try or experience it the way you have. That's why you were invented. Right? So you and your company could be that go-between, could fill that gap for them. But here is something I think you should think more about as you build your business. There will always be people with extending opinions. That's not going away. That will continue. Your job is not to argue with those opinionated people. So the forums and the blogs and the social media platforms and the all networking sessions and all these places where you can go and people can express their opinions, no one said that you have to include yourself. Those are places for opinions, right? They may not have tried or experienced anything. They just have an opinion. Your job isn't to speak in the world of opinions. Your job is to resonate with clients who need help, with people who have problems. So again, respect your own expertise here and put your expertise where it makes the most sense. Put it in front of people who have challenges. Put it in front of people who have problems, and use your expertise to solve their problem. Don't play the expert game. Don't be in the internet trying to prove yourself as an expert. Nobody cares. So because you have the insight, you can tell the difference between those who are expressing opinions and those who have actual problems to solve. Spend your precious energy over here with the problems to solve.